Oh man, this is a really cool build. Real quick before we do the video, over half of the people that watch me every single day, and we get a real good like ratio, people are always leaving loving comments, etc. But half of you guys aren't subscribed. Please do consider hitting the subscribe button for me. It will help me out a ton. Thanks so much. Let's get going with your video. I want to show you guys maybe the coolest build that I've ran into in Diablo Immortal that doesn't work. Now, Crusaders are going to be happy because this video is all about them today. It's also about this basic attack called Punish. Strike an enemy and gain hardened senses, increasing your block chance by 30% for 2 seconds. Now, we pair that with a Blessed Pebble to try to get as much increased duration of beneficial effects as we can. And on all of our items here, we're pretty much doing the same thing, duration of effects increased as well. Basically, we want a basic attack, and when we're hitting an enemy, we want to get that hardened sense up to us as long as we can. Just keep the buff up. We don't actually have to have the duration increase, but it's kind of nice to have because there's no actual cooldown on the basic attack, so you can refresh it every time, so you don't have to have the duration increase. However, it is really nice to have because if you use it, then you can have longer that you can walk in between auto attacks, basically, that have that buff up. So it's just kind of a convenience factor. Now, for this build to work, you're going to want this Offhand, the Gimcrack Buckler. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but see, while Punish has granted you hardened senses, your blocks will trigger an explosion, dealing 3,900 damage to all nearby enemies. This is actually better than it sounds. If you look, this is on orange difficulty monsters, and the damage that this does is actually fairly significant. This is literally with just that counterattack damage and the basic to keep it up, and you can see the damage is significant. What's crazy is that this item scales with the number of minions that you have. So watch, I get all these minions together here, and this is more an even combat rating difficulty. I'm going to go ahead and let them all group up, and I'm going to basic attack. And then, because there's so many minions there, I'm blocking so often, I'm doing more and more damage. Like, it's actually pretty significant damage. It's not too bad. And I'm not using any of my other moves. I'm not even using Holy Banner to guarantee the crit or anything. That's when it gets even more crazy. That is only the damage that's coming passively from the shield itself. The other thing is it doesn't even require a move spot because it's a basic attack that's triggering this. So because of the Punish Hardened Sense that's getting triggered, you just have the Offhand, and the Offhand is altering that. So it's almost like an additional passive damage, then you can have your 4 other moves. And it works with Holy Banner. So if I turn Holy Banner on in the basic attack, it starts critting, and you can actually start to see the damage is kind of nuts, to be honest. And it only gets better the bigger packs you have. It's hilarious. But there's one key problem that you might have noticed during all of this, okay? Which is I'm getting punched and it hurts and my character is dying. In order for this to work, I have to block an attack, right? I mean, if I'm dying in order to do a significant amount of damage, it's probably not worth it, especially in a challenge rift where this type of PvE build might be viable. And while the damage is enough to matter on elites, because the damage is actually pretty good, the elites actually hit pretty hard. So even though this is, again, just we're dealing with right here, passive damage only is killing those things, you're still getting hit pretty hard. Now, the longtime Crusader player might also notice on my bar, I have this ability. Look at this. I can become immune to damage. And you also might have noticed that I did block during the immune to damage. You see, while you have immunity to damage on, or a shield, like the gray shield, you can still block. So now the combo becomes obvious. Turn on the Holy Banner, gather a big group, become immune to damage, activate the block, and reap in the beautiful combo rewards. Except there's a problem with this, you see? You can block and do damage, but you can't block and do damage when you're immune to damage or have a shield. For what other unexplainable reason, this Grimcrack Buckler, the Offhand with this heightened sense proc, will only work when you receive damage, which is not the way it's stated on the item at all. And you can see, and we've already proven in this video, that you can in fact block, there you have it once again, while immune to damage or with the gray shield. Both times you can block. However, it won't trigger the damage because the only way for that to actually trigger the damage is you have to receive some damage. That's not what it says in the item, and that's not how it should mechanically work. If this is in and of itself, look at this. When punish is granted your hardened senses, your blocks will trigger an explosion, dealing damage to all nearby enemies. It does not say that your blocks that reduce incoming damage or your blocks that make you receive only 20%. Like, it doesn't say anything about your damage dealt. It just says when you block, it triggers the AoE of damage, and that's not what's happening. This completely ruins the viability of pushing higher combat rating with this. And the thing is it's not a faster way of farming. This will not change overworld farming. This will not change Elder Rift farming. This won't change dungeons. It's terrible on bosses. You want to see why? Let me show you, okay? Here, we're on the boss right now, as a matter of fact. Check this out. I'm going to basic attack. Look. The bosses attack slow and they hit hard. One block with the AoE doesn't change anything. This isn't an unbalanced type of ability. The only thing that this would become viable in is pushing your challenge rift tiers, where you can group huge amounts of mobs together and have a quick opportunity burst window of Holy Banner, Conjuration of Light, and your ability to actually have the block damage trigger. Where this would be the coolest to be able to use is you're pushing in your challenge rifts. You get a challenge rift that's difficult, that's higher combat rating than you can normally deal with because you're a melee-based class anyway. Like, look at this, okay? This is a difficult one. They're 500 combat rating up on me, but maybe I might be able to do something if I play really well type of situation, right? Depending upon your resonance, etc., etc. So then I could group up all the minions. I would go, okay, here, quickly, now burst window. I get in there, I would basic attack, and now while I have the Holy Banner and all that, I would burst people down. It would look like that. You could see right at the end there, you could kind of see what the damage would look like. But because of either a bug, or because the text doesn't explain it the correct way, etc., we just don't have that option available for the Crusader. And my argument for the Crusader today is, Blizzard, please, just add this. Just add this for the Crusader. It's really not a big deal. This doesn't change any huge, massive viability. It's not going to break PvP. It's definitely not going to break the dungeons, but this will add a really cool, unique, interesting combo, and would also be really, really nice on things like the endless fights. It's just another cool combination, like the ice crystal with the wizard, where you just put the crystal down and you shoot the beam, or if you're the necromancer and you have the laser mage, you know, it will shoot the beam too. It's just a cool, unique combination. The cooldowns are long. You need a lot of stuff to kind of make it work. It's only working with a certain offhand, but it is a really cool way of having some like passive damage. It's like a Thorns type of build almost, and it's the one of the most unique builds I've kind of seen in the game. So if you're a Crusader, try that build out. It's a really easy combination. That's all you really need. You just need the basic attack, which everybody's got, and then you need that offhand, and then go try and mix and match it with whatever type of build you want. But it's a really cool combination. All right, that's it for this day. Crusaders, I love you. A couple more videos coming out for them. See you on the next one.